Reminding you to sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter. It's free. It's at rodpeterson.com, brought to you by Suds Regina. Stuck for gift ideas? How about Suds gift cards available online at our location or at Costco? Visit sudsregina.com for more info. Here he is, Regina's favorite son, Jon Ryan, live from Super Bowl 60. Johnny, welcome to the RP show, my man. How excited are you this week?
Yeah, I'm real excited. It's been a pretty special 2 months for the Seahawks, and hopefully it's a good ending come Sunday afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. What kinds of memories are coming up in you? Because you've been following this run. You were just in Seattle, right, for the conference
Yeah,
championship game. What's what,
absolutely.
what's it been like for you?
It's been fun, kind of looking back at all those good days back in 2013, 2014, going to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, and unfortunately, a lot of memories coming up this week about us playing New England back in Super Bowl 49 and us losing. We've been showing that Malcolm Butler interception about 300 times so far this week. Where if I never see that again, it'll be too soon. But just great memories. And going back to the NFC Championship game last week, and we had a suite with a bunch of the old guys from 2013, and we were just back there, and the older we get, the better we were, and we sharing some good stories from back in the days, and it was kind of fun catching up with those guys.
It's so funny when you say 2013 because Scruffy was on here the other day and he said, hey, Riders won the Grey Cup and then the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. He goes, I see the same thing come. Do you know a bigger Seahawks fan than Scruffy? You probably do, but not in Regina, I wouldn't think.
He's the biggest one I've met in Regina for sure. So I always thought it was kind of cool once I made the team, and kind of been interviewing with him for decades before that. So it was pretty cool to be able to kind of tell some old Seahawk stories with him, being a guy that he goes all the way back to the Zorn and Largent days.
Yeah, he's legit. He's no bandwagon jumper, as you
Yeah.
know. Okay, it's funny, by the way, because I'm doing the coverage. I'm getting ready for Super Bowl week like you, and Luke Wilson's talking about it and how it affected him, the Glendale game. Can you just talk? I don't mean to pick at a wound here, but
Mhm.
is there some PTSD there? Like, is there? There must be.
I wouldn't say PTSD. I mean, it's hurt. It's a lot of pain. Thinking back on that game, being 36 inches away from back-to-back Super Bowls is hard to stomach when you lose that game, and to kind of lose in one of the most painful ways you possibly can. I think it helps the pain a little bit knowing that we won the year before, and as I step away from the game now, being 3 years retired under the CFL, you realize that football was a really big part of my life, and it was great, but it wasn't my life. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't. It's not what made me. So you kind of think back, and it was a great time, but wins and losses, they don't define who you are. And obviously, we would have liked to have won that game, but didn't work out that day.
As you said it well. At least you'd already won. There's no doubt about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
John's writing in. John's writing in from Winnipeg. He says, "Jr. rocks. Love you, man." Jeremy also in Winnipeg writes. Then he says, "PTSD for Tom Brady." He might look at it this. Well, he won that game, so I mean, I don't know why
Yeah.
Tom would have. I don't know why he would have any PTSD at all. Well, tell me what is your Super Bowl week going to be like this week?
I'm back. I'm still home in LA right now. I fly out to San Francisco on Friday. So we'll have family parties and tailgating, and just kind of all the things that I get to do now that I didn't get to do when I played. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot less stressful, a few more beers, and it'll be a good time to hang out with the guys and kind of be in San Francisco.
Well, hey, you like to have a good time. I know that, and I got I gotta say, like Grey Cup 2 years ago in Vancouver is like I think the last time I literally spent time with you, like in the same
Mhm.
place. Did that feel like a Super Bowl? Because those Grey Cup organizers, and you were there representing the Seahawks, right, in the NFL, and those Grey Cup
Yeah.
organizers said they'd went to Vegas, wrote everything down, came back and put it in Vancouver, and that was awesome. Like these
Yeah,
they're so great.
it's been really cool what the Seahawks have done for me. They're sending me out to the Super Bowl. They sent me to Germany a couple weeks ago. They sent me on a cruise to Alaska in a couple weeks or a couple months, and they sent me to the Grey Cup last year. And just seeing the job that the organizers did, it was incredible. They really took over that whole about 2 blocks downtown. I think it was a convention center. They had zip lines. It was a really impressive show. They did a great job. It did have a Super Bowl feel to it, and even at the game, I think One Direction's sang at halftime, and Prince Harry, I think, did the coin flip. I mean, they had quite the production going. It was very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos to them, and kudos to the Seahawks for all the great things they're doing for you. Okay, well, you talk about One Direction. Do you have any Bad Bunny songs on your iPod? Like, does he even sing? Like, I know nothing about this guy. Your thoughts on this
It's
halftime
funny. I guess I'm just not involved in that world. I'm not cool enough anymore, Rod. I'm on the other side of 40 now, and I'm just not cool. I'm not in with these TikTok dances and whatever. And Bad Bunny's the biggest entertainer in the whole world. It's not named Taylor Swift right now, and I have no clue about his songs. But I am looking forward to watching him at halftime. I think obviously he puts on a good show. I'm not familiar with him, but obviously he puts on a good show because all these millions of people love him.
Of course. Hey, a very wise answer from you, and not BS, by the way. You come from like the most open-minded household in the history of the world. I've told you, I've learned a
That's
lot from
true.
your mom. But I will also
Yeah.
say that in Tampa Bay at the outdoor game last Sunday night, the hockey game, Tim McGraw was there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my jam. That was great. So hey, we
Yeah,
can't.
I love Tim McGraw, so that would have been cool too.
That was really quite awesome. I have not had a chance to ask you about being named to the top 50 Seahawks players of all times. I don't think people understand, John. It's an unbelievably exclusive list.
Yeah, I mean, it was a surprise to me. I was very much looking forward to that list coming out just so I could see the guys that I played with and who was going to be on that list. And, you look back, and I'm a bit of a football historian. You look back at 50 years of the Seahawks, and you look at guys, like I said before, Steve Largent, and Jim Zorn, and Walter Jones, and Matt Hasselback, and all these amazing players. And I was definitely not expected to be on that list. And when I was, it meant a lot to me, just to think back on that history. And when I went to the celebration with those 50 guys, and just I had to pinch myself a few times thinking that I'm on the same list somewhere as these guys. And it meant so much to me. And as usual, the Seahawks did it up right. And they actually, when the list was announced, they had my wife call me beforehand, and she's the one that surprised me. And they recorded the whole thing, and it was just a great memory. And I just to be honest with you, as soon as she told me, I started crying because I just couldn't believe it. Just a kid from Regina just growing up playing football because he loved it. Now to be considered or named as one of the 50 greatest players in the Seahawks is just still can't quite believe it.
Well, you earned it. You belong there.
Well,
And
thank you.
I swear, as they say, the older you get, the more you'll. Yeah, it's an awesome story. Arlen Bruce is watching. And he says, "Great day, RP. What a great punter, Jon Ryan. Ask John, does he remember 2004 in Winnipeg when I returned a 76-yard punt return from John? What a kicker." He says, "Will there ever be an MVP kicker? Will there ever be an MVP kicker in the NFL from AB?"
Oh man, that guy was a phenomenal receiver, phenomenal punt returner. I remember 2004 when he came back from the NFL, and everyone was just like in awe of that guy because he was so incredible. Um, I remember back in 2004, I think I had a few punts returned on me for touchdown. That was my rookie year. I hadn't quite got the groove of it quite yet. So you're not exclusive of a class with in that field on that one, Arlen.
That's awesome. Hey, I'm remiss. I probably missed it, but have you somewhere given your thoughts on the CFL rule changes coming down this year and next?
I think I'm really open minded on it. I'm a little bit set in my ways, and I don't love change, but sometimes change is needed. And I think that these rules weren't just made all willy nilly on the spur of a moment by the commissioner. I think there's definitely some thought that was put into it. I think when I think back on some of the rules that are being changed, some of them might have been a little bit stale. The play clock, some of the other things. So I'm not dogging it. I'm just waiting to taking a wait and see type attitude. And I honestly, the more I think about it, the more I'm for it, and the more I think it could improve our game.
Honestly, I'm right with you. So that was easy.
Yeah.
Now I apologize that we're jumping all over the place here, but I'm just out of my own curiosity. I would like to know what your Super Bowl schedule contains. If you don't want to answer, don't. I don't think you're going to be going any places you shouldn't be, but maybe you will. It's Super Bowl after all.
Uh,
I know guys that do that. What's your plan?
no. Yeah, I get it on Friday early afternoon, and we have I'm kind of being put up with the other families of the players. So there's a welcome party. Friday, I think I have some NFLPA events. And it seems pretty much like every sponsor has their party that were able to attend. So I think it'll be a little bit of parties. At this point in my life, I really prefer like a 1:30 p.m. to about a 5 p.m. party, so I can have dinner and be in bed by 9. So it's a little bit different than when I went 20 years ago, I think. So I think there'll be a lot of early evenings and just try to rest up for that game because I think it's going to be a terrific Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got to ask you more about the game here in a second. For those that are just tuning in the middle of it, Jon Ryan is with us, Super Bowl winning punter with the Seattle Seahawks from 2013. The reason I ask you that is in LA, I got at the Super Bowl, I got together with Benefield like on the Thursday or Friday. We were comparing notes, and I'm like, your Super Bowl experience is way different than my Super Bowl experience. I'm hanging out with the old guys, and they're both amazing. But that's the Super
Yeah,
Bowl for
sure.
you. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that it is. As far as this game goes, does it make you nervous at all? A, that the Seahawks are favored by enough, 4.5. Like, what are your thoughts on the matchup?
I think they're favored by 4.5. And I think they're a better team. But as you know, this isn't hockey. This isn't the NBA. This isn't Major League Baseball. It's not a best out of seven. It's 60 minutes for the whole kit and caboodle. So anything can happen in that game. So I would throw out any kind of over under, any kind of odds, because I just think once you're on that football field, anything can happen. So obviously, I want the Seahawks to win. Obviously, I think they're going to win. But saying that, it's anything can happen come 3:30 on Sunday afternoon.
You've been in two of these. Can you tell the viewers how they're different than the rest of the games?
Well, first and foremost, yeah, you have 2 weeks before the game, and it's the biggest buildup of in your entire life. As football players, we have routines. Every single Wednesday, we're doing the exact same thing. Thursday, Friday, every single day is the exact same. When you go to the Super Bowl, you get in on Sunday and you throw that all out the window. You have media coverage. You have a new practice facility. You have a new locker room. You have new cooks in the kitchen making different food. You're sleeping in a hotel. You're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of media requests with thousands of fans, and it feels completely different. And it was really fun 14 days or 13 days leading up to the game, but it was also very stressful. A lot of new things. And I really remember that first Super Bowl in New York, stepping on the field for warmups and almost taking like a sigh of relief, like, oh, like this, I know what to do on here. I'm comfortable here. It was the very first time that 2 weeks where I felt at home. I felt comfortable as being on that football field.
It's funny, by the way, Jon Ryan with a Super Bowl winning punter with the Seahawks. I remember one of the many interviews I did of yours. I think it was at your charity event. I said, "When did you know you had that Super Bowl in the bag?" And I don't want to catch you. You said, if you remember, you said coming out for halftime. They said this is the largest lead in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
They had that in the in
Yeah.
the, in the bag. What was the score at halftime? It was Denver, right?
It was 22-0, and they were kicking off to us. And I'll never forget this because all week we practiced halftime. In the NFL, halftime is 12 minutes. You go in, you go to the bathroom, you grab a Gatorade, you talk to your coach, you go right back on the field. Super Bowl is 35 minutes. So you go in, you can get cold, get whatever. So we practice halftime almost every day. So we got up in lines, we started stretching, did all this stuff, and we came on the field, and you could tell that Denver wasn't ready to go. They kick off the ball, we returned it. Percy Harvin returns it for a touchdown. We're up 29-0, 12 seconds into the second half. And I didn't want to say I knew it by that. I had a pretty good feeling at that point, Rod. You started to feel pretty good. And then as we were talking on the sideline, everyone was like, yeah, but look at their quarterback. Look at their freaking quarterback. Like, this game is not over until zeros are on that clock. Because they got a guy named Peyton Manning over there that can just start slinging the ball at any moment and put up some pretty quick numbers. So as you said, I had a pretty good feeling at halftime, being up 22-0. Had a better feeling 12 seconds in, being up 29-0. But it was a long hour and 15 minutes trying to run out that clock.
For sure. But I mean, one of 877 reasons why you worship Pete Carroll, that he would have you prepared for that. And it seems
It,
so elementary, but it's not.
it there's some people have always asked me, like, what, you're at work 60 hours a week, the coaches are at work 100 hours a week, like, what do they do with all that time? And I was like, you have no clue how in depth we went. Pete would have a meeting every week at the start of the week to review the seven officials that be refereeing our game, their stats, the things they call most. They'd be like, hey, Steven Hauska, this guy went to Middlebury College, chat him up before the game, say hi to him, ask him about Middlebury. He went that was how far in depth Pete went when preparing for these games, is that we would scout out the officials that deeply. Like, I mean, and so we start to break down all that. 100 hours goes by pretty quick in a week when you're going that far.
Yeah, no kidding. And in the end, you win. There's a payoff to that. Or it
That's
sucks
that's a
when you
good
don't.
payoff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Jeremy in Winnipeg with a great comment. He says, John seems confident in his Seahawks, as he should, but he knows who's on the other side of the field. It's the
You know what?
Patriots.
That's 100% correct. The NFL now is so good. Every team is so good. Even when you look at teams, you say that team's trash. I'm like, they're not trash. They have a payroll of 250 million. They have a bunch of guys that were the best players on their high school team, the best player in their college team, and they're playing the NFL right now. So there's no easy game. There's never can you can be confident, but you can never really be cocky because every single team could win on any given Sunday.
Back to the week. The teams get in, I think, Sunday night or Monday morning. Is it hard for them to stay focused with all that's going on?
Once again, Pete did a really good job. We got in Sunday night. He allowed us to stay out a little bit late. I believe we had media day on Tuesday. Monday, we just had a quick film session. He said, there's no curfew tonight. The guys got to kind of let off a little bit of steam. Come Tuesday, it was back to business. And he did a really good job of that, kind of allowing us to kind of take it all in, have a little bit of fun on Sunday and Monday, and then dial it right back in come Tuesday. So I'm not sure exactly how the Seahawks have been doing it, but I'm assuming they did something similar.
Just a couple minutes left, but I got a couple fun ones. I like Monday night. They say it was a tame opening night. The questions weren't that stupid, although somebody asked Mike Vrabel if it was a must-win game. What's the no? What's the dumbest? Right? What's the dumbest question you've ever been asked? Period. Super Bowl and please don't say it's something I asked. Super Bowl or otherwise. What's the dumbest thing?
Of course, it was not something you said. I think leading up to that Super Bowl, I think a lot of people on that media scrum when we're on the floor of the New Jersey Devils arena, and it's packed with media members, and a lot of them are just trying to get a rise out of you, just trying to get a hot take. So I had a lot of questions leading up to a lot of Canadian questions, a lot of questions about Poutine, a lot of questions about Justin Bieber, and I just kind of think back to some of those ridiculous questions where I was just kind of like, does anyone have a question about football for me? It'd be really fun to talk about football right now. If anyone has one of those questions, that would be great. So I just remember back to some of those ridiculous. I never thought I'd be asked about Justin Bieber when I was preparing for a Super Bowl, so probably something along those lines.
Who's not a fan of the Biebs? I
Hey, I
guess
love the
lastly,
Beavs. Hell of a
yeah, me
hockey
too.
player too.
That's what I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But see, I'm learning something here today. Okay, so are you traveling stag this weekend, or is the lovely Sarah going with you?
Uh, Once again, the Seahawks are plus. They give me a +1, so obviously that's Sarah Colonna. She has a big show at a casino out in Iowa, Jefferson City. So she has to go out there tomorrow morning. She performs Friday night, and then she'll fly
Oh
to
man.
San Francisco and meet me there on Saturday. So she wouldn't miss it either. So she can also go out to Iowa, play that casino, make us some money, and come back.
I love it. Are you still just traveling around on the circuit with her, or you've earned her love? You don't need to do that anymore.
Nothing against Jefferson City. I'm sure it's a great town, but I usually skip some of those dates when she's in Chicago or New York. Those are the ones I usually travel with her for.
Well, I'll tell you what. Anybody that go check the tour schedule of Sarah Kalana and go watch her. I'll tell you what. In the Casino Regina Show Lounge, her routine, I was like, oh, mom's here. But Barb,
Yeah, yeah.
Barb handled it
My
like
mom,
a pro. She gets
Barb
it.
has learned a lot. Barb has learned a lot.
She's a professional, just like Sarah. The whole family is. All right,
Yeah.
John. Safe travels. So great to see you, my man. Thanks for the time, as always. Enjoy every single second of it.
Hey, thanks, Rod. Good to see you, buddy.
For sure. Super Bowl winning champion. Always great to see you, Jon Ryan, joining us from Los Angeles. We'll be back in a moment with a sports update and viewer takeover. We're live across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and, of course, across Canada and 33 U.S. states right here on the Game Plus Television Network and the radio WQVZ.